Hey guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about the Analects of Confucius 5.12. And for some apparent reason, I decided to spend a lot of time on this one, and it's just because I'm really curious about it. So if you have the time, you can just hang on a little longer because I know that this is going to be very long, but if you have more time, I do some more like, what if this, or what are some exceptions, and so on. But yeah, today we're just talking about this rule that exists in both Confucianism and is also a popular saying in the West, and it goes something like, treat others the way they treat you, or more so in this, or in our context, it's do not do things to others that you wouldn't want others to do to you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started. 5.12, Zigong said, I do not wish others to impose what is unreasonable on me, and I also do not wish to impose what is unreasonable on others. The master said, 四 or 子贡, this is not something that is within your power. So basically what Zigong is saying is that he never forces his will, his opinions, or his judgments on other people, just as he doesn't want others to do it to him. But Confucius says, no, you actually haven't mastered that concept yet, because first of all, it's not as easy as you think. It's literally one of the hardest points to master. And second of all, Zigong was constantly debating people, which is forcing your opinions on other people and negotiating or forcing your terms upon other people, and also judging other people, which is literally imposing your moral standard onto someone else, which Zigong loved to do. So his entire life was just judging others or imposing his will upon others. So saying that is just really lying to himself, but he did understand the concept. As we've read, he understands what Confucius has been teaching him, this do not impose thing, but wanting to be the kind of person who mastered this concept doesn't mean that you are that person already. So essentially what this is saying is that Zigong hasn't mastered that part of the curriculum yet. That's basically what this is about. But there is so much more that you could talk about with this do not impose on others what you don't want imposed on yourself. But if you don't have the time right now, you can totally just click out of this video. But if you do have time, I have some fun side notes and all of that good stuff. Alright, anyway, so here's this fun side note. We've all heard of the positive side of this popular saying. And the popular saying is, of course, treat others as you wish to be treated. But there's one problem with that. There might be more, but relating to this, this chapter, this passage, 5.12, there's one problem that is subjectivity. Everyone wants to be treated in different ways because everyone likes different things than everyone else. So let's say, for instance, I like pineapple on pizza, and the way that I wish to be treated is that I wish people would feed me Hawaiian pizza. So using this treat others the way you wish to be treated kind of method, I would assume that you would also like to be fed Hawaiian pizza. But you might not like pineapple on pizza like most people I've encountered. So I have just done no good in force feeding you pineapple pizza, and I might have also just ruined our friendship because, I force feed you things that you don't like to eat. So this kind of positive saying, this treat others the way you wish to be treated, is based on the false belief, the false assumption that our desires, everyone's desires, are identical. And Confucius did realize that what I like might not be what you like. So he instead goes for the safer route, the negative saying, which is do not treat others the way that you do not want to be treated. That phrasing is so weird, but you get it. So now let's say I don't like being lied to, and so by applying this rule, then I'll also assume that you don't like being lied to either, so I won't lie to you. And although our likes are all different, our dislikes, or the things that we don't like other people to do to us are usually universal. But there are exceptions to this rule. This rule only applies to horizontal relationships, so like friends or strangers, but in vertical relationships, it is completely different. So if you have a duty, then you must impose. Like, for example, if you're a parent. So when it comes to family, you kind of have to rely on them, and they also have to rely on you as time passes. So not just in Confucian thought, but in Chinese thought, your family is not seen as others. So you're seen as a continuation of your parents. So you carry their genes and their flesh and blood and all the things like that. And you have this intimate relationship, so you have to impose. And it's the father's, the mother's, the family's duty to make sure to impose on you, to make sure that you have a good life. So when you're relying on your parents, or vice versa, it's kind of like your right hand is asking your left hand for help. So is this right hand imposing on your left hand? No, because they're a part of the same organism. This is also why being distant or independent from your parents isn't really seen as a good thing in Confucianism. So another thing is, what if your parents aren't really ideal, I guess? What if they're just really bad or not responsible or just not really the material fit to be a parent? Well, Confucius actually says, instead of trying to distance yourself like Western psychological kind of things tell you to do, Confucius actually wants you to still respect them and love them no matter what. No matter, even if they try to kill you multiple times, like what happened to Emperor Shen, who is this legendary emperor who was really respected for his filial piety, and he had really awful parents or step-parents or something like that. And they did try to kill him multiple times. They really didn't want the best for him, but he was still very respectful to him even when his stepmother kicked him out, yada yada. And yeah, he never really hated his parents. So basically, Confucius still wants you to be as filial as possible, even if your parents are kind of bad. But I don't want to go into that really right now because we're really going off topic. And other exceptions are when you're a leader or a ruler or a teacher, because these kinds of duties force you to impose on maybe more inferior people since you're kind of superior, I guess. So it's like a vertical relationship again. So when you're a leader or a ruler or this some kind of boss, you of course you don't want others to tax you, or you don't really want to maybe tax them either, but you have to because it's part of your job. And teachers are the same thing. They have to impose discipline and other laws and regulations to maintain order and stability and to do their duty. And the last exception is, for example, if some person hurts your family, your friends, or even just you, or just really just if some person treats someone else or something else really badly, then you shouldn't just go, oh, well, I don't want to be punished, so I'm guessing that they don't want to be punished either, so I'll just let them go, it's fine, it's okay. Because, well, that's just not the right way to go. And you can probably guess why. And another question that has popped up in my mind, so maybe you're thinking about that too, is can I impose if it's for their own good? And again, I'm talking about horizontal relationships. Family relationships, of course. Teacher, leader, whatever relationships, of course. But with horizontal relationships, the answer is no. And that's for a variety of reasons. And this is something kind of like you're pulling up a seedling to help it grow. And your intention is good. You want to help it grow. But by pulling it up, you're really just kind of killing it. And in the Analects, the one thing that Confucius didn't teach was forcing people to do something. Like, for example, in 5.10, when Zai slept during the day, the master Confucius was like, tisk, tisk, tisk. But he only criticized him, and he didn't really pull him up, or he didn't say, you have to wake up or else, blah, blah, blah. So the rule is you can offer the way, the right way to be, the right way to go, but you can't force them to walk in it. You can't force anyone to do something unless they themselves are willing to do it. And if they're not ready to make their own decisions yet, or they don't know what's good for them yet, only forcing them will only breed resentment. And of course, the best way to do anything is for them to actually realize how good that thing is, for them to actually want to do it. You can't force someone to read if they don't want to, and if you do force them, actually, it really won't work either, because they won't enjoy it and they'll actually hate it instead of loving it like you want them to. So you actually just have to wait until they're ready to ask you. So timeliness is key. And the last thing I'm talking about is why. It's always this big question. Why? Why do we need to not impose on others? So first of all, you don't really understand what they're going through, and the only way to actually understand is to imagine if you're doing it. And also you might assume that when you're helping them, they're actually really thankful, but actually that might not be the case, because do you want someone controlling your life all the time and telling you it's good to do this, it's good to do that, when you you yourself don't really think so. And to impose your help is kind of saying, I know your life better than you do, but in reality, you really don't. And you don't know what their situation is or what they're going through. I know that's really cliche, but it's true. And I think we've actually really talked about this a lot in the past, but imposing on other people actually just breeds resentment. For example, if you force a kid to study, then they'll actually just hate studying. Or if you force a friend to change, you say to them constantly, you're doing this wrong, you have to do this right, then they'll just edge really far away from you because they don't think that's wrong. Maybe only you think that's right, or maybe you're wrong. So in horizontal relationships, imposing on other people actually just destroys your relationship than actually helping them. So the key thing here is that you should only try to help them when they ask for it. And the last thing is, if you're forcing someone to do something, then you've kind of already given up. Because a gentleman just persuades people really naturally, really easily, kind of like how the wind brushes grass. But once you start imposing your will on other people forcefully, then you're kind of saying something like, do this or else I'll something. It's proof that your moral power or your understanding is insufficient. Because if you've already resorted to that, then So basically, you shouldn't impose just because you don't know what their life is like and you don't know what they are like. So it's better to put your trust in their autonomy and their own decisions and trust them to live their life, however good or bad it is, because, it's in their fate. But yeah, it's better to put your trust in them and their ability to take care of themselves, just as you expect others to trust your own. And yeah, that'll be all today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!